What's up, everyone? It's your boy Nick. We did Theorycraft Wednesday yesterday, and I completely remade my Arcanist. And we'll go through it a bit right now. I did my own tweaking of some various builds I found, and I kind of came up with something that I really like, some combos. And this is going to fit with a lot of, I wouldn't say lower skill players, but kind of an easy rotation. A lot of stuff going on. We'll go through it. What I'm playing currently is I am on Dark Elf, which is probably not the best for this. Obviously, I'm an Arcanist. Got all 64 points of stamina. I am running Thief Mundus. I am currently using the braised rabbits and something soup, I believe it's called. Food. There is better food that gives you a little bit more stamina, but basically any max stam food, I basically set all my parses for my build for content. I don't do a specific dummy humping build chasing numbers. Some initial things that I did on this Arcanist are I parsed a couple times. Got about 96k, and there's a lot to learn because I am not used to it. So what we will do is we'll go through the gear real quick, and maybe we'll show you guys a parts. All right, so front par, I am actually using Rune Carvers. I'm using a 5-piece, obviously, with it. So you get 2 lines of weapon and spell, line of offensive penetration. Now on the dummy, this really doesn't matter, so that line really is going to kind of be useless. But there is lots of damage over time, which is why I picked a lot of damage over time on this build. So basically, every third tick of your dots, you get an extra almost 12 or 1.2k worth of damage. And basically, this stacks off of my weapon. So there might be some ways I can tweak this. Get my weapon and spell damage up. Back bar, this is where I kind of did my own little twist on it. And I went with the black prison daggers. With the way everything lines up, rotation-wise, with the 2 skills on the back bar that you are really worried about, which being Blade Cloak being one of them, this actually works out perfectly. Now you could use the Maelstrom Arena on here and use the blockade perk or whatever the variation of that staff slam is, but nonetheless, basically this is going to increase my damage done by 6%. And what this will also do with Spectral Blade up or Blade Cloak active, it is going to activate my enchants on the back bars. I have stamina. I have a boost weapon damage. So I might swap these and see how it works, because it doesn't seem like the second weapon is hitting too often. So I really would have to test back and forth. So how often the especially with being infused, how often I'm getting that extra tick of physical damage versus what it would look like with a little bit more weapon damage. So, I mean, there is some tweaking out to look at. We also got slimecraw. This is pretty obvious. A lot of crit chance. Crit's always good. Always want crit. And then I am using coral riptide, so I do play the resource minigame on this. So I'll normally go into, especially when I'm parsing right now, I haven't really used it any that content, so to speak, but I'll normally try and go into my parse with about, once I get down to around 40 and I start pre-buffing, that's when I know that I'm good to go. So, running coral riptide, and I should probably go back up. I'm running charged and charged. So I have the status effects that can proc which is more dots. So flame and poison. And infused on both of these because I want these use weapon enchants to pop as often as possible because I'm not on my back. So Divine's max stamina on everything on the body, but I'm running Coral Riptide like I said. And then obviously because I'm an Arcanist, I'm using Velothi. Pretty good set, gives you a line of pen, and then increases your damage by 50% by monsters. But basically your light attacks and heavy as far as damage goes. You're still going to get the resources gained back from it, which on this build, if you are playing the resource minigame in an organized group content, you should be getting enough from synergies and whatnot, but you can throw a heavy attack in there to get back some stamina needed. So not really too bad. And then running Bloodthirsty on with my Rune Carver rings with multi-effect enchants, basically the weapon. That's going into the skills. This is where I got a little creative. Let's go to the back bar first and kind of see what this build revolves around. So basically I do like this new banner skill, which is from the support skill line, if I remember correctly. So this is pretty selfish right now, I think, the way that I have it set up. I'm not really sure how the two different rings, if it's given other people around me some of these buffs, but I chose the fiery banner, so increases the damage done with your damage over time effects. I thought about trying it with the AoEs and see how that works. I'm not really sure if this does buff the team or not, but but originally I was looking at it and I'm trying to think when I was putting the build together, because I did it backwards. I did all my skills first, and then I built it around backwards, but I did the skills first, and then worked off the damage. And then I reduced the stamina magic. I can't remember. Oh, I think that's tied to the damage every time thing. It reduces my recovery. What I've noticed with this is if you're going to be sprinting and roll dodging a lot, this does hurt in content. Something to be aware of. And with Coral Riptide, if you're trying to play that resource minigame, it does get a little tough. If you're humping the dummy, I mean, it shows up, and it's really not an issue. I have no problem basically on cooldown being able to pop a potion, stay around that 33% needed to hit the and then I'm doing the class mastery, which this is one of the few classes where the class mastery is actually good. And basically it just creates a crux every time I think it's every 3 or 5 seconds. So you'll see once everything's put together, there'll be a lot of times where I'll come out of bar swaps and I messed up some things and my beam was actually ready to go. But more times than not, with the way everything's set up, I really only have to pop my flail once, and I've got my 3 cruxes and I'm beaten. So, and I do like minor heroism on the back bar, or on the banner as well, during an ultimate every 1.5 seconds. A pretty decent uptime with the ults there. There's some changes you can do to the build, I suppose, but I don't know many people that are baller enough to run heroism pots. If that's you, by all means swap this to anything else that you think is beneficial. And I think on the front bar there's a couple things you want to change around if you're running heroism, but I'll have to look at it as we get there. But yeah, that's the big skill on the both bars. So this is kind of a flex spot. What you can do here, and I actually have this set up running content, and I'm actually trying to level up the skill line. Probably go Camo Hunter here, and get some Fighter's Guild passives on the back bar. Because typically, with 2 of the skills being on a 30-second cooldown, one that you're going to be on recasting. It seems like every other time all three line up. So this is kind of a fun skill. Bread and butter on the back bar, as I talked about, was going to be this quick look, so it's a 30-second cooldown. So in content, yeah, it's pretty nice. AoEs, damage is reduced 10%. Basically, every 2 seconds, it's doing a AoE damage. And what this does is it activates your back bar weapons, which every time this procs, it gives it a chance to put glyphs on it. So it's pretty nice. And major expedition for 4 seconds, pretty nice skills. So if you're moving, running in between fights, especially in group content, optics will help that resource. Then we run Inspired Scholarship. So, I can't remember what the other one does. Basically, this is going to create a etch runes onto your weapon, and it pulses every 3 seconds. Enhances your class ability. So it's also going to deal damage every 3 seconds, a small amount, but the big thing is it generates crux. What you will see using this build is that every time it pulses, generally it's going to generate crux, which is pretty awesome. So it's pretty much going to work on your cooldown because your beam is going to last 3 seconds. It's going to pulse in there. It's going to generate another crux coming out of it. There is a good chance that both of these skills might pop once or possibly even twice, depending on how it lines up, and you go to your front bar and you're going to have a full beam. So I do like this, and you get your source of major vitality and sorcery from here, so this negates the need to use any sort of spell power pot. Alright, and we got Fulminating Rune. So this is another one. It's a kind of a weaker dot, but it is a dot, and it is on a pretty long cooldown of 20 seconds, so it's less advantage. And then there's like a whole bunch of stuff. And then in content with the synergy, it is going to be doing a good amount of AoE if you. So I do really like this skill. Another skill you can throw here instead of Camo Hunter would be in the major skill line, the Rune skill. You're going to have to upkeep it a little bit more. I've admittedly been lazy a lot recently. I've been enjoying a lot of 1-bar builds into housing and just kind of farming different things, so it made controls made a lot of that easier. But let's go to the front bar. Alright, so the bread and butter obviously is going to be your flail and then your beam. I'd have to look. I honestly can't remember if the other flail is magicka or not, but this is the one that restores health to you. So I do like this. Like I said, I build my build not to hunt the dummy and get maximum amount of damage out of it. I basically do my build something I would use. This thing's going to immobilize for 3 seconds and marks him with this 20. You hit an enemy, it is going to heal once per cast, so it is pretty nice. So, and you also then deal 5% increased damage to characteristics. So there might be some rare opportunities where you might be everything lines up perfectly and that 20 seconds of abyssal ink might fall off in between your beams if everything lines up properly and you're getting your 3 cruxes. So just make sure you take a peek. I run with a full buff bar, so I have no clue what's what when I look at things. But that is one thing to keep in mind, that if it looks like your team has been up about 3-4 cycles, just throw a nice little flail in there, reapply that. This as well could be a flex spot. It is another dot, which is really nice, and it does help the Fighter's Guild passive, which this is a newer-ish character. I never really love when it came out, which I know it was broken, I did, but basically this is on here for the Fighter's Guild passive, and it's upkeep applies damage and other gives you minor force if you're not getting it somewhere else. So overall, I mean, trap is the bread and butter of just about any build. You could run caltrops, I suppose, but no need. Either one of the fatecarvers will work. I like Pragmatic, like I said. I go for the more content-oriented builds. Your damage fall off from the other one, which does last a little bit longer. I think it's 5 seconds instead of 4. You're not going to really fall off too much, and this one does give you a nice little damage shield. A big one at 90, 100. But this is a 4-second channeled activity skill. And obviously you really only cast Camouflage Hunter, this is on here for the Fighter's Guild passive. And then Banner, because you have to keep this on both bars, it's kind of like Sword Pet. And then here, ideally, you want the Fighter's Guild. But, yeah, it is pretty simple, pretty easy build. I don't think I have any food on right now. It is Braised Rabbit. Tri-stat, restore potions. They definitely probably have 7 million of them now. Yeah, that's the build. I mean, the Roto is pretty easy. Normally what I do going into it really depends on the fight. I'll do some stam dump. So on the back bar, the weapon skill, and then I go into my rune, or my blade cloak and run up, drop my ult, swap to the front bar, you drop your trap. More times than not, you're going to have to hit a flail, and then you just go straight into your beams. And as you'll see here, our light attack on the flail. Line them up, and as you see right here, I already got my 3 parses, so I'm going straight back into my beam. Yeah, it's a pretty simple, pretty easy build. I don't really know too much about the Arcanist, so I kind of took a collection of different builds, kind of made it my own. I thought about trying to run Pillar, which I feel would work very good in place of Rune Carver, and Monzils would work good. I've legitimately never run Sanity's Edge, so that is a no-go for me. Highland Sentinel is actually a very slept-on set that I would probably look at replacing Coral with at some point. I haven't used it too much in content, so with the Arcanist, a lot of it is you're kind of kiting ads to line up the team, because it is going to hit multiple. So I feel like there's a lot more movement. This isn't like my sword where I can just kind of sit there and spam heavy attacks and skills that move minimally. But with Highland Sentinel, it actually does work pretty good in content. At about half stacks is where you really see the drop off from that to most other sets. But I mainly would prefer to have a trial set if possible at all times. Reliquant is obviously not a thing because with the Jesus team being 4 seconds long, you're never going to keep up attacks. But anyway, that is the Arcanist build, and this is one of my first build videos. If you enjoy, like, comment, and subscribe. If you got any suggestions, let me know. And I appreciate it. Flail.